Welcome to Trails, Tales and Fails, where we dive deep into the minds and miles of the endurance world. Today we have a runner joining us who has just won UTMB Chianti 100 miles, thus securing a spot at UTMB and Western States. She's also the owner of Trail Retreats, a retreat where you can spend a weekend immersed in ultra running, featuring scenic trails, delicious food and invaluable insights into training and racing. Yes, you may have already guessed, or seen from the title of this ep, we're chatting to the awesome Fi Pascall. We're playing the usual games of truth and lie. Can we figure out which of Fi's statements are real and which are totally made up? These ones this week are absolutely awesome. Stick around to find out. So settle in and get ready for an epic conversation. Okay, Fi, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me on.
I've been super excited since Max said we got you on. I've been very excited, haven't I?
Yeah, I think it was first. 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so yeah, great.
And lots has happened.
Loads has happened. Congratulations on your recent win at the Chianti UTMB.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm really happy with that. And actually, I said that I was doing Chianti, so we should maybe wait until after the race. So I'm glad that it turned out well, because otherwise this would be a very different kind of vibe to the podcast, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be a bit awkward.
It would have still been awesome. It would have still been awesome, whatever the result.
Yeah, it would have been. But yeah, like poor Tom though, because we spoke to Tom maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and poor Tom didn't start because he got poorly.
So brutal. It's so difficult when that happens. Poor guy.
Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him on the course actually. I think because he was out there, wasn't he? Because he was planning on running until the very last minute. But no, I think he wasn't feeling very well at all, to be honest. It was a pretty miserable day. So if you're feeling down with a cold, then you don't really want to be standing in the rain all day.
No.
Yeah, I got the measure from his post that he's like fairly pragmatic about these things, and that he possibly, I don't know if he's learned from previous mistakes, but actually he kind of knows when it's the right decision not to put himself through it.
Yeah. I think he's learned the hard way, and I think a lot of us have, that you've got to take illness seriously, and running for 12 hours, or actually for Tom it would be slightly less than 12 hours, but running 120k when you have any kind of residual illness is just a really bad idea, and it would have messed with his season. So I think it's a really sensible decision.
Yeah.
That's happy. Right,
let's
I'm gonna go.
Let's talk about you then.
Yeah. So here's our little icebreaker question, and we've had such a variety of answers, so we're super looking forward to hearing your one. If you could have any celebrity pace you in a race, who would it be and why?
As long as we know them.
Otherwise,
it's really
I'm wondering if you know this guy, but it's kind of it's the comedian John Robbins.
Oh, John Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm just quick search. John. I'm not so good with names these days.
He's he has a really good podcast that I listen to, and I listen to a lot when I'm running. And it's just, he's a comedian and he's really funny. And I think that would kind of go for many comedians, because I don't really like, when I'm tired at the back end of a race, I don't really like talking. So I would just want someone just kind of entertaining me, just talking in my ear and not having to kind of respond.
Yeah. That's a great one. We haven't had a comedian on before.
No, but do you still have a good sense of humour at the end of a race? Because I know somebody who doesn't have much of a sense of humour towards the end of a race.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably be laughing more at the beginning than the end. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to laugh. That's the thing. I mean, you wouldn't actually want to be laughing really towards the back end of a race, but just be entertained, because you can find something funny and still not kind of react to it, right?
Yeah, no, true. That's a good one. I'll have to look up his podcast. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with running, but it's a really good one.
I will look into it. I'm always looking for some podcast suggestions, because it gets a little bit same. What's your run guilty pleasure? Whether it be a song, a snack, a habit you're embarrassed to admit that you love during a race or training?
I think like really bad 90s and noughties pop music. Yeah, I think because I really like running to like drum and bass and cinematic and ambient music and jazz and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, there's something about there's just the really rubbish stuff like All Saints and Destiny's Child and like Boyzone and
Love
things like
this.
that.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask, does S Club 7 feature?
Oh yeah, S Club 7, yes, for sure. It's so bad. It's so bad, but it's just so good.
I hear you. That's
Nice.
that's brilliant.
All Saints came on in the car the other day, and I was trying to explain to Sarah's eldest. I was like, "Oh, you will not believe this song in the 90s was just mental." I was like, "Just listen to the lyrics," and she just looked at me and just went, "Yeah, can we change channel?" I was like, oh, "Okay, clearly that's wasted on you." I'm obviously getting old. Okay, so Fi, I've looked into your running backgrounds, and yeah, just tell us really a little bit about your background. Why running? How long have you been doing it for? Why ultra running? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I've run for kind of most of my life. I was never particularly good at it. I was kind of okay, you know, one of those okay people at school. And I I injured myself when I was 16. I had a quite bad back injury that lasted for quite a long time, for probably kind of 8 years. When it was sort of, sometimes it was really bad and I couldn't walk, and sometimes I could do just a little bit of running, but I'd kind of be walking backwards down the hills and things because it was really painful. So I kind of built up using Pilates and strength particularly, but I built up from there and then started running again a little bit later in life. And then just started taking it seriously in 2021, where I kind of accidentally came across ultra because my sister's a really good ultra runner. So I was kind of following her, and she did this thing called the Bob Graham Round. Do you guys know the Bob Graham Round?
Yes.
Not
particularly well, but yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of it. Yeah. So it's a round in the Lake District. So it's a challenge you can set off whenever you like. And you have to start at this one place, the Moot Hall in Keswick, and then it's a loop of around 100 kilometers, taking over 42 fells. And then you have to come back to the Moot Hall. And the challenge is to do it within 24 hours. My sister in 2020 got the women's record, which was ridiculous. It was 14 and a half hours.
Wow.
Like it's disgusting. It's such a good record. I think it's going to last for a really, really long time. So I was kind of watching her do that, and it's this amazing community because you have to have support with you the whole time. So she would have, there's 4 road crossings, and she would have a kind of crew meet her at the roads, and we would be giving her food and sort of switching her crew and things like that. And then her crew would be carrying her bags and watching her over all of these fells. And it's this amazing kind of coming together of the running community. There was probably sort of 30 odd people helping her. And it was just such a cool thing to do. And then I decided that I would like to do it. My husband did the same thing. Because we kind of thought, she did it in 14 and a half hours. If we have an extra 9.5 hours, surely we could do it. And we did manage to do it just about the next year. And then that was the kind of the Kickstarter, I think. I loved the training. I loved the kind of adventure of big days in the hills and exploring, getting to know the Lake District, and then the community around this challenge as well. So then, after doing that, I was just interested to know what else I could do. Because the other thing is I really didn't think that I was able to do that kind of thing. And I think this is true of so many people when they first do a long run, whether it be a 10K, ultra, marathon, whatever, is that your body is capable of so much more than you think it is. So then you do this one thing and you're like, wow, okay, what else can it do?
Yeah.
So that kind of started my I would say serious training.
And did you run the first one you did with your husband? Did you do it together?
We set off together. The plan was to set off together, and then I knew that he'd be a bit faster, so he went off a little bit faster. He ended up finishing about an hour ahead of me.
Yeah.
But that was always the plan. Yeah, it was really cool doing it both together, but it was also kind of messy because we needed 2 sets of crews. So we needed kind of twice the number of people. So it was really, really badly organized. We didn't think it through very well at all. It'd be fun to maybe go back at some point. I think he's going to go back at some point. Try again.
Oh, amazing. So we're going to just move on to what happened recently. And I say the name wrong every time. So can you just say the name of the Chianti?
Chianti.
I would say Chianti.
Chianti.
Chianti. And your epic win. And we followed. It was really exciting because we had it on YouTube. So we didn't have the girls with us this week, the weekend. So literally we had it on the laptop, we had it in the sitting room, on the telly. It was just brilliant. It was like as close to being there as possible. And yeah, it's just awesome. So how did it feel crossing the finish line at Chianti?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. It's always amazing to cross the finish line first. But then when there's a really competitive field, it's really special. And I haven't had that many experiences like that. Like we've talked about, I'm fairly new to ultra running. And when you're kind of competing against and then coming out on top of women who they should have beaten me in theory. Yeah, it's pretty special. I was also absolutely shattered because the last I think kilometer is this really horrendous, really steep climb. So, and I had a camera crew following me, so I kind of wanted to keep pushing. I didn't want to walk up the last bit. So yeah, you're just going up, and then it's just the finish. So the finish didn't feel very strong.
We'll talk about the cameras in a bit. I wondered though, when you've got the cameras following you for large periods, does that mean that you're slightly less reluctant to take your foot off the gas as much as you would do normally because you're thinking, oh gosh, I've got all these eyes on me potentially at the moment? Did that spur you on and drive you to like try and like push your performance to the next level, do you think? I mean, I know it will do it to a lot of the people that have cameras on them, but I just wonder if that gave you that like extra impetus to go, oh my gosh, this is being streamed on the UTMB website and YouTube. And like, I think at one stage I was like 6,000 people watching. Yeah, do you think it gives you like an extra nudge to go, actually, let's just crack on and keep going?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I think certainly at the beginning, I was not filmed very much at the beginning because it was all about the men's race to start with, which it was quite nice. So I could run at my own pace at the beginning, but at the end, I don't need to pace myself so much at the end because I want to be pushing. So it was really good. I think there was climbs that I would have walked up if the camera guy wasn't there. I do try as hard as I can to ignore him because I think I've got to, like, I don't want to be trying to like change the way I run or anything like that. And the temptation is to like, head up, try to act really bouncy and act like you're fine. And
flying away.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of try not to think about how many people are watching. So I know that there's a camera there, but I'm not thinking about the fact that they're actually all watching me at the time. And there's things like towards the end, I kind of do a bit of like groaning and kind of shouting because I think it helps with my motivation. And the first race or two I did where I had cameras following me, I didn't do that. And then I kind of had a word with myself and was like, you've got to just act yourself because otherwise it's going to affect the race negatively. So yeah, I keep pushing and I definitely climbed up the hills, but I try to just sort of do my own thing.
Yeah, no. Well, from being one of those 5,000 watchers on YouTube, you were definitely just awesome on those last climbs. And it looked steep, and seeing the other female runners after you, like you made it look smooth and strong. So
How aware were you of what was going on behind you? Because Johanna was, I don't know if you sort of caught up with her or you know much about it, but like, yeah, it was looking at times like they were like, oh, she's pushing, she's closing the gap, and then she wasn't. How much sort of feedback do you get about what the current state is in terms of like the gap?
I knew that she was close, and it's the same. So when I overtook Azara, she stayed with me for the whole of that leg. So I think it was 8 kilometers. I didn't make any. I made like 5 meters on her in 8 kilometers. And I was like, oh my God, come on, slow down. And then just really, really gradually pulled away from her. And it was the same with Johanna. I caught her, and then we ran together for probably 5K, and then just really, really, really slowly pulled away from her. And I'd be like, I felt like I was running really well, and I'd look behind me and she's still there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, so I think it was, I overtook her around the sort of 70K mark. And I think it was that there was an aid station at 88K that my crew weren't at. But at that point, the camera guy, this is the really useful thing about the camera guy. The camera guy stopped, and then he caught me up a little bit after that. And I asked him if he'd seen Johanna, and he said that he'd waited for 2 minutes and he didn't see her. So I thought, I've got a 2-minute lead.
Do you worry that that's going to go on to is any process thinking, is that going to go live? Is it did that bit go, or do you just chat like you would chat to anyone on the race, like when he's filming?
I mean, I don't know how personal I'd go with him. But yeah, I think it's fine. And I'm not sure how well he can hear me. I don't know how well you guys can hear me on the live feed. It's not that you can't really hear anything, right?
There's a lot of commentary over the top of it, so
it's true.
Yeah, but we don't really get a huge amount of info from the runners.
Just I didn't
talk to him loads. No, sorry, I didn't talk to him loads. He gave me a little bit of information, but not very much.
So I'm quite a chatter on runs, and I'm having to really try and stop chatting quite so much. So it's a work in progress. You said about your strategy, when you look at your strategy, was it a plan to not go out? Was that your plan to sort of I be the hunter and not the hunted, as it were? Was that your? Can you share? Yeah, was that? What was the process?
I guess it's quite intuitive. I was planning on racing from the start, but when the lead pack overtook me, I had all 4 women overtake me on one climb. I knew that I was going to have to go beyond my comfort zone in order to keep up with them. And I made the decision that I wasn't willing to do that. I'm not very good at like a single climb. My VK time would be horrendous, and my 10K time is like pretty terrible. So I know that I'm not that girl. And I was looking at my watch and the average pace over the first sort of 10-20K, and I knew it was way faster than the average pace is likely to be for the whole race. So I'm thinking in my mind, I was like, either they're going to slow down, or they're going to absolutely obliterate last year's average time. And I know I can't do that. So either they slow down or they are just better than me. And either way, I'm just going to have to kind of come to terms with that. I got into the aid station at 37 kilometers, and Matt, my husband, said that the whole group was still within 2 minutes of me. So I knew at that point that they'd basically overtaken me and got a bit of a lead, and then hadn't really carried on gaining in the same way that they were when they took me. So that kind of gave me some confidence that they weren't just like miles ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
I was listening to a podcast that Damien Hall did, and he was talking about the Spine, which is obviously a longer race, but he said the risks that are involved in going and winning a big race from the top 10 athletes are so high that you can almost put money on 7 of them completely destroying themselves and potentially DNFing. So I guess you take the risk of like either going out there and just trying to smash everyone to pieces and you know, run to victory in an absolutely epic time, or you sort of just try and make sure that you're in the mix come 60-70% into the race. And yeah, well, exactly. Like you obviously did. And yeah, I mean, it's some people, like you look at Zach Miller, he's very much like, I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to absolutely smash it. And if I'm still in shape with like 20 miles to go, great. But it's like, which way do you want to, which way do you want to play it? And I guess there's arguments for both, but yeah, clearly you strategically played an absolute blinder at the weekend. So awesome job.
I think it's easier for me to be the kind of the sensible one, because I physically can't run that fast. So going out too fast would be really a really obvious mistake for me. Like, I'd know that I was doing something stupid. But I think for the people who are really fast over, say, 50k, it's so easy for them to start with that they have to actively hold themselves back at the start. But I don't think I really need to do that. I think it depends on your personality type. I think someone like Zach is a fighter, an attacker, and he's the kind of, go out as far as you can and hold on for as long as you can. I think there's an argument for kind of having to do that in the sort of really big Western States UTMB type races. But even then, if you look at kind of Ruth Croft, for example, last year, she did, I guess it was sort of comparable. It was a lot better of a performance than my last week, but it was a similar kind of thing, and that she started slow and then she took almost everyone. She came second in the end. So I think there's space for both types of runners.
Yeah, absolutely. So you touched on your husband, Matt, crewing you, which I sometimes do. How, without wanting too many personal details, how does that dynamic work? Have you sort of got it down to like a very detailed plan? Do you sort of adjust things throughout the race, and just sort of have just a bit more of a go with the flow approach depending on how things are going?
Can you give us some tips, please?
It's not relationship advice. maybe it should be relationship advice, because I do sometimes struggle to get my point across.
I think if you can make it through an ultra crewing each other, then you've got a good relationship, right? Matt's awesome. He's done quite a lot now, and we used to really, really go through everything in loads of detail, but now he just kind of knows. We have a plan A, and then we've got this kind of bag of all of the things that I might need, that might go wrong, and sort of change of clothes, things like that. And it's his job at this point to make sure that I'm okay. So there's things like, sometimes I'll come in and I'll say, like, for example, I think one of the checkpoints I came in, I felt a bit depleted. So I said I wanted an extra gel, and I want to drink more Coke. So that was on me. But in some situations, he would be saying, okay, you need to take a minute here. You need to drink some more. You're getting cold. You can't move your hands properly. We need to put some gloves on you, that kind of thing. So he's really good at kind of judging my kind of mood and where I'm at and my temperature and things like that. And I think that just takes practice. He's had to, poor guy, he's had to do it quite a lot now. So he's getting really good.
It is a very, I mean, for me, it's as close as you can actually get to running it, though. Like, it is very, very exciting. Like, that chasing your runner around different checkpoints, different times. Like, it's not pressure once you've sort of done it a few times, but yeah, it is a bit nuts, sort of getting from point A to point B in that amount of time, getting everything sorted, making sure runner's okay when you come in. It's like a NASCAR pit stop, isn't it? It's like literally come in, wheels off, refuel, straight back out as quickly as possible. It is very exciting crewing.
You're quite good at Sorry. No, you go.
I can't remember what I was going to say. It is really, really fast. And I think it is really stressful, but I think I haven't done a huge amount of crewing, but I think it's really fun from what I understand. It's really exciting. I know that he likes it, which is really helpful.
It's super special. And are you quite good asking for a friend? Are you quite good at when he gives you the food, taking it on, even when perhaps later on in the race you're not wanting to take the food in?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. There's always times when I don't want to, but I have kind of strategies in place for that. I'm pretty good at forcing the food down. I don't think anyone's sort of thinking towards the back end of an ultra. I don't think anyone's thinking, oh, I really fancy a gel. I think you just kind of crack on. I'm pretty good at it. And there's things like I will always have quite a lot of flat Coke available at the checkpoints, and that seems to be something that goes down well. So sometimes if I'm having stomach issues, I'll take a whole bottle of Coke rather than my energy drink. And I don't like drinking Coke at all in normal life. I never crave it, but on a race, some like sort of slightly warm flat Coke is just the best thing in the world. No?
I don't know. I'll give it a go. You're not sure you're selling warm flat Coke, but I will give it a go for you.
So good. I maxed 500 ml in one go at one point on Saturday in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you learn what works for you, right? It's all part of the journey.
So
exactly.
You've now got entry to UTMB and Western States.
Yeah, congratulations. Epic.
Yeah, epic. Which one of those two races excites you the most, and why? I believe you've done UTMB before, haven't you?
I've tried. So I'm in a really fortunate position now that I have an entry for UTMB 2025 and 2026, and then I have Western States 2025. I did UTMB last year and I had a really, really bad time, and I ended up dropping at Le Contamine, which is the first aid station, because of various reasons. I was really scared on the start line. It's really kind of loud and there was loads of pressure, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, but also just the crowds and the kind of cameras everywhere, and there was all these things that I wasn't kind of prepared for, and I just basically completely fell apart on the start line. So within a sort of 10 kilometers, something was going wrong. I was feeling very strange. My food wasn't going in. I basically had horrendous stomach issues, and I got very, very dizzy and weak. And by the time I got into La Contamine, I couldn't really see. I was using my poles to stop myself from falling off the trail. It was really, really horrendous.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was scary. I think it's just sort of classic hypoglycemia looking back on it, but at the time when you're in it, it's terrifying. And I was taking on food. It just, for some reason, it wasn't going in. It wasn't being absorbed. So I have unfinished business with UTMB, but I may never win a golden ticket race again in my life. They're so hard to get. I met a guy on the Sunday after Chianti, and he'd been trying to get into Western States for 15 years and still hasn't. And it's that kind of race where, and that's normal, because there's only, I think, 312 or something people that do the race, and millions of people want to do it. So it's it's so difficult to get into. So I'm very aware that, this is an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, that is, please tell me if I'm wrong, but from what everybody was saying at the weekend, the vibe was very much like that was the main reason why Killian was there, to get Western States golden ticket if he could, from top 3 position. So yeah, that just goes to show, I guess, how much of a big deal that is for even some of the best runners in the world to be able to run Western States.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no kind of backdoor entry for even people like Killian. You have to actually go through and qualify. And there's only, I think 5 or 6 golden ticket races in the world. There's only one in Europe. So it's really difficult. And then we had people like Abby, who had come across from America to get a golden ticket. So it's incredibly prestigious, and I'm very, very lucky to have won it, and I feel very fortunate. But I still haven't decided. I have until next Saturday to decide. So.
Well, good luck with that decision.
Get all the older pen and paper, pros and cons.
Yeah, I've changed my mind about every 4 hours for the last 5 days.
Oh, well, yeah, good luck. Good luck with the decision.
So, for myself and Sarah, I think you have prepped some statements which could be either true or false.
Max has just written a little scoring grid. That's how competitive it gets.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So I've got 3 statements, and some of them are true and some of them are false.
Okay, fab.
We're
Well,
ready.
if you give us a statement, we might ask some questions around that particular statement, and then we'll have a go at seeing what we think it is, and then you can reveal. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the first one is, I started doing a food diary recently, and I realised that for my breakfast, I was eating 1,200 calories in one bowl.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a little bit like
We had
Alan Pritchard on last week, and he was saying that pre-race he has 12 Weetabix.
No, 10. It was a lie.
Oh, it
and
was
he had
10.
10, but
Yeah,
still
10
10
Weetabix.
Weetabix before a race.
Pre-race? Blimey.
Pre-race, and that was a pacey 50k as well.
Wow.
That's what we thought.
Okay.
That's a lot of fibre.
What do you like to eat for breakfast? What was the 1,200 calories?
It's porridge, but I have loads of peanut butter on it, and then loads of like other toppings.
I mean,
that's a good
peanut butter can really, really push it up.
I'd go peanut butter and golden syrup in my porridge.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Are we
I'll have
including
mine
drinks with it?
sometime.
Like maybe an orange juice, maybe a coffee?
No, that's all just in the one bowl.
Wow. And what time do you normally go out and get your running done?
Normally mid-morning. I normally work first thing and run mid-morning.
Yeah,
That's quite a tactical question there, Max.
Oh yeah, this could be feasible. Big
I'm
feed.
going. Okay, I'm ready. I'm locking in.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm gonna go.
Are you gonna go first?
It just seems
Well, then,
a
quick,
lot, but I'm
quick.
gonna go true. Sarah?
I think 1,200 calories is a lot. So I'm going to go false.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next
so
statement.
I'm
Ready,
now.
ready.
Oh no, we reveal the answer.
Oh, straight away.
Yeah. We're going
Okay,
for that.
go.
How long have you been doing this?
Now.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yes.
That's
Yeah.
strong.
That is
That's
strong.
strong.
Yeah. I was quite surprised, but yeah, it works. It's just a lot of porridge and a lot of peanut butter.
With milk or water?
Surely it's got to be milk.
Yeah, I'll have Oatly. Barista Oatly, real creamy.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Whoa.
yeah. We do like protein. Give it a go.
Okay. Awesome. Statement number 2, please.
Okay, yeah. So this isn't anything to do with running. I used to have a fish called Straddle-addle-addle, Boddle-addle, Boddlington, Bonnie Witchy Campbell.
My gosh.
That's the best name ever. Did Beth, your sister, have a fish too? And if so, what was that one's name?
She never had a fish. I had another one called Bob.
No. Can you say the first name again, please?
Straddle-addle-addle, Boddle-addle, Boddlington, Bonnie Witchy Campbell.
What sort of fish was it?
Gosh.
It was. I think it was called a neon tetra. It was just like a little fish.
So
I think it had like a blue bit.
Fish knowledge is strong.
Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah,
fish
neon
knowledge?
tetra. Literally, you've nailed the name there.
I'm locking
I
in.
might have made that up.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I might have made the whole thing up.
I'm being really good and not going to
They're
Google.
tiny little fish, and they've got like a little stripe down the side. Okay, what are you going for?
I know. One more question. How old were you when you had this fish?
I don't know, between sort of 8 and 12, probably.
True.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with, I reckon that there was something with that name in Fi's life, but I reckon she's thrown a curveball and I'm going to say it wasn't a fish. So
If it
I'm
wasn't
going,
a fish, what would it be?
wow, I don't know.
Let's find out.
I'm going to say false.
Okay. No, that one's true.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that was
Wow.
quite an
Oh,
obvious
no.
one.
How did you come up with a name like that?
Yeah,
Then?
how did you come up with that
Well,
name?
My mum, when she was younger, had a fish called Strablalbalbalbolington Bonnie Campbell. So it came from that. And I asked her where the name came from, and she just said it was a popular word at the time.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
I
what
don't know.
a name.
Yeah.
I feel like you should get another fish and call it the same name. I feel like this name needs to live on.
Yeah, I
Past
don't know if I could look
generations.
after a fish now. I could get a dog and call it that next
Can you imagine
time.
calling the dog across the field?
Oh, okay. Right. Statement
Right.
number 3.
Yeah, 1-1.
Please.
Okay, so I once took a hard-boiled egg from a hotel buffet and took it on a plane for a mid-flight snack. And I was watching the TV and cracking the egg on the chair thing, not looking at the egg. And that's when I realized that it was just a raw egg. And I managed to just spill raw egg all over myself and the stranger that was sitting next to me.
Wow.
When was this?
About 2015.
I mean, it's very creative.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
I mean, AI come up with some imaginative lie about.
Yeah, maybe. But also, even if you thought it was a hard-boiled egg, that's ballsy because that's quite antisocial, that smell.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like eggs? Do you love eggs?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have chickens.
Are you conscious of the smell when you eat eggs in public?
But on an aeroplane, everything smells, right?
Yeah, true.
Okay. I'm locking in. I'm going to go true.
I'm going false.
Okay. I'm going true. It seems too creative to be a lie.
Ready?
So it was a lie, but it happened to a friend of mine.
So, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the lie's so good, because you've got inside knowledge of another person doing it.
Exactly. Brilliant. I'm just transferring the story.
Very good. And I won. Thank you so much. Again. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks for the winks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for organising those.
Okay. So, and looking at your Instagram and following you on Instagram, you have got a huge and exciting project that I think you've just completed and is up and running, your trail retreats, which sounds amazing. We would love to hear like what inspired you to create it, and would you like to explain what it's all about, please?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a really exciting project. We really love, obviously, trail running and the community around trail running, which I've touched on, and we love just getting people together from all walks of life who have this one really passionate interest in running and trail running. We did a retreat a couple of years ago with my sister, and it was just so much fun, and we met so many amazing people, and we wanted to replicate that. At the same time, we're really passionate about getting people out of the cities, mainly to spend time in nature and spend time on the trails, because I think it just makes the shoulders drop, right? It's so nice to get out of the lights and out of the kind of noise and the hustle and bustle of the city. But I think it also, spending time in nature makes you care about nature more, makes you more passionate about preserving it. So there's an environmental aspect to kind of what we're doing as well. My husband Matt, which we've talked about quite a lot actually, he built our house a couple of years ago alongside a friend of ours who's a carpenter. It's an off-grid sort of modern eco home, and he's now just finished building 6 cabins in our little rewilding area in a field in Somerset, and we live in such a cool area. We live on the Quantocks, which is this amazing little secluded hidden gem of a AONB. So yeah, we have this amazing space, and we want to share it with people who love running and love spending time in nature.
And how long's it just sounds incredible. How long has the project, from start to finish, like how long's it taken you to get to the point you are now?
So it's actually started in 2020. In the first lockdown, we didn't have planning permission or anything, but we built, or Matt, again, I keep saying we, he built a cabin for us to live in. He built a little tiny home on a trailer for us to live in. So then we sold our house that we were living in the time and moved into the trailer. And I lived there for 18 months because we were planning on building the house in 2021. And then I don't know if you remember, there was obviously COVID, but the Suez Canal blockage that meant that there was no materials, there was no wood or anything. So we didn't have the materials to build the house. So we had to wait for an extra year. So we lived in the cabin for quite a long time. And then the actual project from the ground up took just 7 months. It was very quick to go up to build the house. And then the cabin started beginning of last year. So that took another year. And during that time, we've been planting trees. We've dug a nature pond. We've been trying to improve biodiversity in the area, which we've done really well. We've got really incredible biodiversity now. So that's been the kind of ongoing throughout the project.
Wow, what a vision. What a vision.
Looking on your website, I read about Matt doing so much building work and you having like an eco house, which just sounds awesome. Does that sort of influence some of the decisions that you make? Obviously, you're incredibly passionate about the environment. Does that sort of then influence some of the decisions that you make around like how far you want to travel to races on like regular basis, etc.? Yeah,
that's a really good question. It's something that I've really struggled with actually in the last few years. Until last September, we didn't fly for 5 years because we wanted to not fly. And it was something that that probably held my running career back slightly, because it meant that we could only go to races that were relatively close by. It would take longer, so I'd be racing less. And that meant that I wasn't going to the right races necessarily, the more kind of competitive races. And then we kind of came to the decision that we have to be okay with doing a certain amount of I guess just flying and producing carbon. Carbon emissions. So we basically decided that for this year, we're going to be okay with flying and we're going to prioritize the racing. And it is a really big, difficult decision. It's something that I feel quite guilty about. And we'll still try. If I go to UTMB, we'll still drive out there. We'll take the van. We'll try to avoid it. But I think at some point you just have to decide where you are and be okay with it. And we eat pretty much almost completely a plant-based diet. We live off grid. We do everything that we can at home. And we've just sort of decided that partly that the flights are going anyway, and you it's really difficult. You go to somewhere like an airport or a service station on the motorway or something, you look around and you think, how much difference am I really going to make by not doing these things? So there's an element of just kind of, I don't know how much difference we're actually making, and an element of just choosing where we are and being okay with it, doing everything that we're willing to do, but not beating ourselves up about not being perfect and living in a commune and never going anywhere.
Yeah, it's a balance.
It sounds like you shouldn't be too harsh on yourself for it. Like, not suggesting that you are anyway, because it sounds like, you and Matt have got it all sort of figured out as to reasons why. And I guess if you want to be, as you've already said, like, you want to up level your running, you want to challenge yourself against some of the world's best runners at some of the best races, which are all going to lead to important learning experiences. Like, actually, you know, why should you miss out on that if you've got something which you're very talented at, you know? And as long as you can balance that, I think that is fair enough. And you sound like you do so much other things to look after the environment and reduce your carbon footprint. So yeah, I think I would argue that you guys are probably making quite a big difference. So yeah, great job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always difficult, isn't it? I think there's always a certain amount of guilt if you care about the environment at all. But at the end of the day, we only live once, and a lot of the time, you know, if I don't get on a flight, it's probably going to go anyway. They're not going to cancel it. So
yeah. So you mentioned that you sort of first started ultra running journey back in like 2020, and looking at some of the races you've done, it looks like since around about 2023 there's been like a real up level in your running and some of the results. Hopefully, would you say that that's the case?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
say,
Max loves a bit of research.
Love a bit of research. So, what would you say is the factors behind that sort of up level in your running from where you were to sort of where you are now?
I think in 2021, I took on my coach, Martin Cox. It was after my Bob Graham round, so in, I guess, sort of July. So after that, it was about kind of building an actual structured training program and doing some practice races, I guess. My big project for 2022 was the Lake District 24-hour record. So that was something that it doesn't exactly have a UTMB index. It's a bit like the Bob Graham round in that it's up in the Lake District and you set off from one place and you have to get back to another place. But the challenge is basically to do as many peaks as you can in 24 hours. So that was the project, and I was very pleased with that, and I managed to get the record. But it wasn't something that many people had kind of heard of, and it definitely didn't affect my ITRA index or my UTMB index or anything. So then after that, there was a big break after that, and then 2023 was when I started, I suppose, racing in the more high profile races, and that was when I started aiming towards the UTMB World Finals in 2024.
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very what's the word, like steep elevation in your like races and performances. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it has been a bit overwhelming. It's kind of, it's left me with quite a lot of imposter syndrome because it's all happened very quickly. So yeah, it's something that I've had to get used to, I suppose.
I think actually we're just looking at a question, and I'm going to ask it because I think it links to what you've just said there, because it's so much to take on. There's so much to consider. There's so much overthinking that goes on. And the question, I guess, is ultra running is as much as a mental battle as a physical one in so many like degrees and different layers. How have you worked like in your head and your processing in your mind as to where you are now?
Yeah, I think having a coach has been really useful for that as well, because it just keeps me sort of sensible. It keeps me honest. He makes sure that I don't overdo it when I really want to overdo it, and if I really don't fancy going for a run, I don't know if I wouldn't if I didn't have a coach, but it definitely helps me just kind of just keep ticking along. And it takes the pressure off as well. I don't have to decide what I'm going to do. I don't have to make any decisions. I just do what is planned. So that's been really, really useful. I do get really stressed and nervous around races, and that's something that I've been working on. So I have some little tools that I do at the beginning of races around kind of focusing inwards, a bit like meditation. I meditate as well, almost every day. So yeah, I think there's been a bit of a kind of learning curve there, and I think especially after UTMB, where I had this horrendous experience, it's something that I've been really focusing on Just sort of, yeah, focusing inwards and not looking outwards, and not allowing the kind of negative thoughts to creep up on me at the beginning of races.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah, it's super important.
If you had if you read the chimp paradox book. Is it called
No.
the chimp paradox? Well, the negative thing on your shoulder, which is like telling you what you can't do, and it's like, get off, like I can, and it's sort of realigning what you can do. That's a good. It's a good.
Totally. Yes, that sounds really interesting. It sounds like I should be reading it for sure. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear it.
So we do like to talk about the occasional fail, just because we call them fails, but we don't view them as fails, to be honest. So I think like a fail is always an opportunity to like learn and develop. So I'd say every runner has faced a low point. Have you got any that you would be willing to share which stands out from a race?
And
what was your learning from it?
I guess we've touched on the UTMB experience. I had one other experience like that as well at the Eco Trail Paris in March last year. And I guess these are the ones where I actually ended up stopping. So maybe they're not the best example, but I learned so much from UTMB. I learned to put into practice some of the coping mechanisms I've got, some of the sort of breathing and focusing inwards, and the tools that I have that I work around the beginning of my races now. So that's been really, really, really useful. There's also things like the digestion. I've changed the way that I fuel a little bit. So I have lower intestinal issues when I'm running, generally, if I have issues. So like reducing my fiber before a race is something that I do, reducing the kind of fat and protein a little before the race, and upping the carbohydrate. That's something that I do as well. But I think the main learning from the kind of low places in the longer races that I've had is, one time I was doing a 100-mile race in Slovenia in 2023, and it's so technical, and it was probably mile, 80, I think, if it was actually 110 miles. And it was this really, really technical section, up and down, big rocks. And I was just so tired and just losing my sense of humor a little bit. And I thought I was going really, really slowly, because I was going really slowly because it was so technical. And I thought, the second woman is definitely going to be overtaking me any second because I'm going so slowly. It's just ridiculous. And then I got to the aid station, and Matt said the second one was like 4 hours behind me or something. And, it wasn't a particularly tight race. Well, obviously it wasn't that competitive, but yeah, I think the learning from that is that everyone is on the same course as you. So I think looking at things from other people's point of view is really important. If someone, like on the weekend when these girls were keeping up with me, part of my mind is thinking, oh my God, they're so good, they're just going to overtake me again, they're like, I'm never going to be able to hold this. And then the other part, I'm thinking, well, they're probably working really, really hard to keep up with me. So all I need to do is break the elastic, and then that's going to drop, that's going to get them to lose motivation. So I think thinking about the fact that everyone's on the same course as you is a really important thing. And I think that's not just true of the front of the pack. I think everyone can kind of learn from that it's difficult for everyone. Everyone's going through the same kind of emotions and the same struggles as you.
That's really very thought. Very, I agree. It's easy to forget though, right, when you're sort of in the moment, but it's just processing it. It's key. I sort of feel like you might have linked this to your are we going to ask that one? Am I going to ask that one? I'm going to ask this one.
You
mentioned,
asking it.
I'm asking it. Well, you mentioned about your about when you started running, when you were you're always running, and then you had something that happened for you not to be able to run for like 8 years. So it's been such a journey for you and such an incredible one. But I guess the question that we've got here is, if you could go back and give your younger running self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, I think this probably isn't going back that far. It's going back to when I first started running ultras, and I thought that I would run I ran like a 50k and a 50 mile or something, and I thought I was just really rubbish at them because I would get really, really tired towards the end and I'd feel dizzy and things like that. And I thought I was eating loads, but I was eating like half a bag of jelly babies in an ultra. That's so much. And then now, like, I would be having that every like half hour now. So I think the lesson would be, you're not rubbish. You're just not eating enough.
Yeah. Finding the solutions. Yeah. Like
exactly. Problem solving.
Yeah.
So you have touched on what you've got planned for, well, potentially what you've got planned for 2025. That was going to be one of our questions, but I kind of feel like that's a dilemma that you said that you need to try and figure out. So we'll go without putting Western States into the mix, because we know you've got a golden ticket for that. If you could run any race in the world, what would it be?
Oh yeah, I love this question.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because Western States is on there, but I don't want to say that now because if I don't take it, then that's really stupid. One thing is, it's not a race; it's a sort of FKT, I guess, a route. It's called the Via Alpina. It's 2,500 kilometers, I think, and it's all the way through the Alps. So I think it takes in Slovenia, Germany, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, France, maybe a couple of other countries. And it's like all of the kind of the high mountains, the high passes in the Alps and the Julian Alps, and it looks so cool. And I would love to go there.
I just want to play devil's advocate here and say that I'm very, very team your husband, because it sounds like an absolute nightmare to crew. So, I mean, you want to keep peace.
It would be horrendous for him. It would take 30, 35, 40 days, I think. Yeah,
and imagine all the ups and downs that he'd like. Yeah.
Should we talk about like the challenge that Fi would be taking on rather than just the crewing?
I feel like it would be more direct.
No, I don't know. I'm kind of with Max here. I think the crew would have the hardest job.
Oh, I was trying to help you out there. Watch this space. I mean, amazing. Yeah, FKTs are becoming quite a thing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And this one would, I think it's kind of been done before as well. So there's a time to beat, which would be important to me. But I don't think I could really do it. Definitely not for the next few years, because I would have to probably take a couple of years off afterwards. And I'm not really game to do that. But it's in the back of my mind. It looks awesome.
It's on the bucket list. Like you say, life is pretty special. So pop it on the list.
Exactly.
Awesome. Wow.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Time has whizzed by and we've absolutely loved having you on. Thank you for joining us, Fi.
Yeah, no, it's been lovely. Thank you. Congratulations again at the weekend. Just awesome.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's been really fun. I really like the idea with your podcast, the little fun questions, and I think the fails is really important. So I think you're doing a really cool thing.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind. We'll be watching you for the remainder of 2025 and beyond.
And the decision you make.
Good luck with all of your races. And see you later.
Awesome. Thanks very much, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.